Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, February 19th. So this week was Lily and Kane's wedding, and I have to admit to you that I was swept away. I was so swept away to a magical land in France. And I completely was in the moment and enjoyed it fully. So if you guys out there are not Lily and Kane fans, you're probably gonna just want to fast forward this for the next few minutes because I'm just gonna be gushing over it. I love an on-location shoot, and I assume that's what it was. I don't know, it looked real. Do you guys know, was that actually filmed on location in France? I totally got the vibe that it was, and I enjoyed it. It was so nice to see so many of the cast members there, and it's just really such a magnificent gesture by Catherine. Catherine loves love. She is a sucker for Valentine's Day, which, by the way, where the hell is Murphy? Murphy really should have been in on this whole thing, the giving of the gifts. I miss Murphy. Shoot, I haven't had to even talk about my main crush, my main man, in so long. Murphy is missing from the landscape, you guys. We need to bring him back, but in the meantime, Catherine is in a good mood. She loves love, and she wants to give Lily and Kane a fantastic, magical wedding. And that's exactly what she did. She shows up at Lily and Kane's apartment, where pretty much everybody is. Neil and Sophia and Devon and Abby and even Tracy was there, and she just announces to them all that her wedding gift to Lily and Kane is that she's going to scoop everyone up in that room, put them on her private jet, and whisk them away to France, to Provence, France, for a second chance wedding. It was so magnificent is the only word for it. I just loved it. I really did. Everything down to the tiniest little details of the wedding. I mean, of course there was, you know, everybody gathering together and walking around on the grounds of this hotel that they were staying at that was grand. It was a grand hotel. I mean, they had these lavish gardens and these very beautifully and precisely trimmed hedges, and everyone, especially Harmony, is looking around just starstruck at how incredible it is. And, you know, Jill has her sunglasses on and she's enjoying a stroll, and Neil and Sophia are there with Moses, and of course Lily and Kane are there with their babies as well. So it was just a full-on family affair, and a trip to France. It was just wow. It was so wow. And later, just the actual ceremony was so moving to me. There were some moments beforehand that I thought really needed to happen and really helped build up to the moment where Lily and Kane said, "I do." And part of it was Lily having Tracy and Abby, Tracy, my goodness, I'm losing my mind right now, I'm not with it. She had Olivia and Abby in her little suite with her as she's getting ready for her wedding, and Abby gives her this gift. It was a bracelet of Colleen's, and that was something that both Tracy and Ashley and Abby had decided that they wanted Lily to have, and I did really appreciate that Colleen was woven in to the storyline quite a bit. That was Lily's best friend, and in any other circumstance, if Colleen would have been alive, she would have been Lily's maid of honor. So I appreciated that her presence was there, even though she wasn't there, and the bracelet was beautiful. And Olivia also chimed in and gave Lily a hair comb that was Drusilla's and that she wore at her first wedding. I don't know how Olivia ended up with it because Lily wore it at her first wedding anyway, but she gave it to Lily, and that made her feel like Drew had a presence at the wedding, and that meant something to me. And I also noticed that Olivia, I know we've seen her on the scene a little bit more within the past few months, but Olivia has not aged a day. Have you guys noticed that? She still looks pretty much the same as she did like 10 years ago when she left the show. Olivia looks the same as I have remembered her from when I started watching in the 90s. It's wonderful to see. I would love to know what her secret is, but she looks so good. And she mentioned Nate once when she was talking to Lily, and that reminded me also that didn't Y&R recast Nate just a few months to maybe a year ago? And what happened with that? Nate was hanging out on the scene a little bit, and it seemed like maybe they were going to start to build storylines around him, and then he just disappeared. So I'm curious to know about that, if anyone has any opinions on that. But, you know, otherwise, I just felt that that was a very special little moment between Lily and the girls. And then later, Lily had another really special moment with Neil. And she initially said that she didn't want Neil to walk her down the aisle. She wanted to be strong and do it on her own, but then as soon as she saw Neil's face and how proud he was of her and just beaming with happiness, she realized that she wanted her father to walk her down the aisle, and he was so pleased. He was perfectly happy to let Lily go and do her own thing, but he was so pleased that she reached out to him and asked him to be there for her and walk with her on this day, which is a heck of a lot more, by the way, than what Malcolm did. Before Lily and Kane left Genoa City, Malcolm, they did receive a flower arrangement from Malcolm, which created a very awkward moment for Sophia. But still, Malcolm, having awkward moments and an awkwardness between you and Sophia and Neil doesn't mean that you have stopped being Lily's biological father. Malcolm fought so hard to try to be in Lily's life, and he wanted the status as Lily's father, and yet when she's getting married or at the various twists and turns in her life, he's not there. So this just reinforces to me the fact that Neil was, and always will be Lily's father. And I thought that it was good to have him there. And I think she appreciated it, and I think that he also brought that element of Drusilla into the whole wedding vibe. And the whole wedding vibe was luxurious. They had the ceremony outside in this huge courtyard. Massive courtyard. I mean, when we say Neil helped Lily walk down the aisle, it was like a mile from where they started to where the priest was. It was an enormous outdoor venue, but again, so beautiful. They had this, like, instead of rolling out a red carpet or some sort of mat for her to walk down, the entire aisle was covered just with rose petals. I cannot even imagine how much this cost. How much did this set Catherine back? I would love to know, because it was detailed. The details were insane. And finally, Lily gets to the end of the aisle, and she has this moment with Kane, and it just feels like, almost like that long aisle represented the long path that they had to take to get together. And it was so wonderful to finally see them come together, and seeing them dressed up and looking all perfect the way they both are. Lily looked amazing. Her dress, I'm usually kind of critical of wedding dresses because there are none that I like. I just typically don't like wedding dresses. I don't think they look good. They look weird to me. But Lily had on a shorter, tighter dress, of course, because she can get away with it. And the sleeves were lace, and the back of it, it had the back the shots of her from the back, you could see that the dress had like a deep V-neck plunge, and it was lace all around on the back and the sleeves and the front. It was so, I was so jealous. Crystal Khalil has such an amazing body, and she looked so good. She had on these heels that were perfect, and her hair was perfect, and she was just perfect. It was wonderful. And Kane also looked very kind of dorky cute. Kane was going for a different vibe. It was very non-traditional, I think. Like, he had on this kind of, I'm gonna call it gingham. It kind of was like a blue gingham print shirt, dress shirt, and then it seemed like a deep dark blue suit, and then his tie was stripes. So it was like stripes on top of gingham. It was intentionally kind of mismatched, but it worked. It was disjointed, but it worked. And they just made such a nice little couple. And they got to the point where they were saying their vows, surrounded by everyone in their family that loves them, surrounded by this extraordinary just setting that they were in, just an absolute heavenly setting, and they're talking to each other, saying their vows. And I thought it was kind of cool that their vows were really practical. They talked a lot about how, you know, how they're gonna split up household chores, or okay, you're gonna walk, Kane promised that I will walk Humphrey at least half of the time. And, you know, just very practical, kind of cute, meaningful, down-to-earth things that they were promising each other. But then there was a larger sense of knowing that they have gone through so much just to come back to this point and just to be together. And it melted my heart. As you know, I'm sure, I have felt critical of Lily and Kane ever since Kane was lying to her about the whole Colin thing, and then, well, and I mean, larger, he lied to her about being dead. It's hard to forgive that, and it's been difficult for me, but I do feel that Y&R did a good job of slowly building back up their relationship and not shoving it right down our throats right away again. And so I feel at peace with Lily and Kane. They have a family together, and marriage, it seems to me to be something that you're in for better and for worse. And there is a bond between Lily and Kane, and they're trying to honor that bond for themselves and for their children, and I think that's important. And you know what? Aside from all that, I feel like, hey, if everyone else in the Winters family, even Neil, even Devon, has forgiven Kane, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we go along with the flow here? And by the way, I can't help but mention, speaking of Devon was hilarious this week. He was so funny. He's actually starting to get his personality out there. It was just like before they left Genoa City, there was this moment in the living room where everybody's going, "Where's Devon? Where's Devon?" And he walks out holding a huge sandwich. It's just like, what? I was hungry. That was so funny. And then he was kind of messing with Kane a little bit. You know, just as the girls had their pre-wedding moment, the boys had the moment too, where Neil and Devon and Kane were kind of buddy-buddying around. And, you know, which, by the way, Neil and Devon were very anti-Kane for a very long time, and now here they are acknowledging the relationship and, in fact, pushing for it and giving it their full blessing. And Devon is Kane's best man, and he starts messing with Kane a little bit about the rings, trying to pretend like he lost the rings, and that was cute. It was just a very, I don't know, it's a very honest moment, I think, between the two guys, and I enjoyed that. And also, after the wedding, everybody came to this lavishly set dinner table, and they had wine and food and talking and fun time. It was kind of like the reception, only it was like the reception basically. And Lily and Kane cut their cake and everybody was chatting around the table, and Devon again was kind of funny. He was a little bit drunk, I think. He was tipsy. He gave a speech, but he just seemed a little bit lit. And it was funny. So just all in all, I loved it. What did you guys think of it? Are you back in for Lily and Kane? I know some of you aren't, but I just... France, how could you not love it? And I'm sure that the entire occasion was beautiful even from a distance, even from a discreet distance. So, Genevieve learns that Lily and Kane are scheduled to be married. It was Jill, actually, that blabbed about it to her, and she realizes that she is totally not on the guest list. Kane told her last week or the week before that he just doesn't want to have anything to do with her. He's tired of the lies, and he meant it. So, no invite for Genevieve, but that's not going to stop her. Oh no. Genevieve decides to follow the entire wedding party to Provence. She doesn't even know where it is. She's just doing detective work. In fact, she called and duped Esther to get the address of the wedding. Why, Genevieve? See, it was weird. She was for the whole ceremony, Genevieve is standing off in the corner, hiding behind a hedge, peeking out, in all black, as if she was going to a funeral, just peering over at the whole wedding and crying. And I want to feel bad for Genevieve. I really do, because I like her, and in some ways I do understand her. I think that she's had a hard life. She's made some bad decisions up to and including recently, and she just can't seem to get her footing. And it's hard to feel like that. It's hard to hate yourself, and I think deep down she kind of does hate herself, but she it kind of feels like she did crash the wedding. Nobody saw her there except for Jill, which Jill told Neil, which I'm sure that will all play out once everybody gets back to Genoa City. I'm sure that Genevieve will have discussions with both Neil and Jill about it. But the thing is, Genevieve, this is the reason that Kane doesn't trust you. You're sneaky. You're kind of sneaky. And I'm not saying that Kane has any room to judge her whatsoever. I do kind of think that Kane just doesn't want to have anything to do with her. I can kind of see his point. I can kind of see her point. Nobody's blameless here. Nobody's a saint. But if Kane didn't want you at his wedding, Genevieve, you shouldn't have gone. It's not about you. It was about him and his choices. And I just think that it was rude of her to kind of track them down. I don't know, do you guys feel that way? I felt like it was rude of her to track them down and kind of like peep at their wedding. If Genevieve wants to feel bad about something, feel bad about what you did to Jack. That's where you should save up all of your, guilt, and you should use it for Jack, because there's where you really did screw something up. Jack loved her, and he let her into his house. He let her into his life. He let her into his business. And she did screw up. She did screw up. And I just don't understand why she has abandoned him. I could not believe that she ran away from the wedding when she did, and I kind of can't believe that she's not at least trying to be there for him now. Like, if she would just explain to Jack the reasons why she did what she did, I can't help but feel like he would understand. When she had the talk with Kane, I think it was, where she explained that she was damaged goods, and the reason why she bought Beauty of Nature was because she was afraid that she was going to disappear in Jack's life. All of that made sense to me. I empathized with her big time in that moment. And rather than just calling Jack from your cell phone while he's sitting in a wheelchair and crying at him and basically looking for forgiveness, rather than doing that, why don't you show up at the hospital and try to talk to him, or try to do little things, try to make some kind of recompense? Why isn't she even trying? Well, Jack isn't having it. And I'm kind of with him on this. When Genevieve called him, was basically like, look, I don't want to have anything more to do with you. I don't forgive you. What you did to me was wrong, and I'm over it. Which, after he hangs up the phone, you see this look on his face, which implies that he's totally not over it. But there's always room for revenge, wouldn't you say? Because Ashley comes to visit him later, and he asks her to check with the lawyers and see if there's any recourse that he has against Genevieve. Because, after all, she looked at his bid, knew what it was, used personal reasons to look at it, and then went and outbid him. So there was a little something shady there. She did kind of commit some level of fraud, I would think, if the lawyers can prove it. And Ashley is really hoping that Jack doesn't choose to put his energy toward this. I mean, Jack is begging to walk again. He's practically borderline badgering the physical therapists to help him walk again as soon as possible. Yet he's focusing energy on revenge against Genevieve, revenge against Victor. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that that is healthy for him, but at the same time, I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to see him sue Genevieve's ass and take Beauty of Nature away from her, because she is in a mindset right now where she's screwed everything else up in her life. Her son hates her. Jack doesn't want to have anything to do with her. The only thing that she has is Beauty of Nature, and she can't even find anybody to run it. So even though she has pushed Victor away, denied all of his offers, Victor has approached her on several occasions about just getting Beauty of Nature back. She's always turned him away, and now all of a sudden she's starting to go soft on it, which, I don't know, I kind of just wish Genevieve would just give Beauty of Nature to Jack, or sell it to him, or offer to sell it to him, for crying out loud. But if she now goes behind Jack's back and starts hooking it up with Victor, that's double crossing. Is there anything else you could possibly do to this man, Genevieve? It's ridiculous, and I'm a little annoyed with her about it. Victor has decided to fly to France because he senses that Genevieve is in a vulnerable position right now. He's got spies practically on her 24/7, and she's been crying all over the place. So I'm sure he's got people reporting that she is feeling emotional right now. And so he decides to go to France to try to, again, in person, talk her out of the company, talk her into selling it to him. And the offer that he's made is so outrageous. He basically is telling her that he wants to bring Beauty of Nature under the Newman umbrella, and in exchange, she gets to be Victor's right hand. Ooh, what a huge coup. Yeah, let's see. You could own the company outright and be the boss of everything, or you could give it back to Victor and be one of his executives. Like, what seems like a better choice here, Genevieve? It's gross. They're hanging out in France, and Vic, like, he's getting her to go back to his hotel suite to crack open a bottle of champagne and negotiate this over, and he's like, it sort of has a sexual-y feeling about it, doesn't it? He's sort of talking in soft hush tones and saying, by the time we get to the end of this champagne bottle, we will have arrived at a deal. And it's making me ill. It's disgusting. If Genevieve goes along with this and lets this happen, all he is gonna do is double cross her. I don't know. Maybe that's exactly what she deserves. I am so disappointed in Victor. I don't think I ever stop being disappointed in Victor. Wider sucked us in this week with another Nikki and Victor Valentine Love Fest. It was so romantic. I was totally in it. They were in bed together talking about how much they love each other. Oh, and before that, Victor arranges, Nikki comes home and he arranges this special dinner for her favorite chef has come to the ranch and he's preparing a meal especially for her. He's left his restaurant, his successful restaurant, just for this night. This must have cost him a fortune, just for this night to cook a special meal for Nikki. And instead of, I don't know, putting on a record in the background, Victor has live music. He has a pianist and a violinist, and they're playing soft mood music, and Nikki gets home and she's, oh, it's my Valentine's present. And Victor walks out and he's in a full-on tuxedo, and he's looking dapper. And Nikki says, oh, I'm underdressed for the occasion. Well, guess what? There is a gown waiting upstairs for you. It's been sized to you perfectly from Fenmore's and sent here just for you, so why don't you go upstairs and try it on? And she comes downstairs and she looks beautiful, and it's a wonderful dinner moment together. It's incredible. It's everything we've been wanting. All of those months of Victor in jail and the push and pull and does he love her, doesn't he love her, and will they, won't they, will they, won't they, and it just culminates in this wonderful Valentine surprise, and then they decide, oh, we need to be alone. So Victor whisks her upstairs into the bedroom where they presumably make love and fall asleep and wake up in the morning staring at each other's faces, saying how much they love one another. And Victor reaches over onto the nightstand and pulls out a set of brochures. And each brochure is for a different exotic location around the world. Paris and London and Madrid and even Kenya. And Victor proposes that they go on a world tour. Just 'cause, you know, just as a special romantic time together. And Nikki decides she can't go, but it's the gesture that counts, and it's wonderfully romantic, and it was so exactly like how my Valentine's Day was. I was like, well, YNR, how did you know? Like, that's exactly what happened to me. And I was like, you know, maybe I could go on a world tour, but I don't know. I think I'll stay here in my crappy house. And instead of like a really great dinner, how about I cook dinner again? Don't bother bringing in a special chef for me. I'll just cook. I'll make some tacos. So romantic. But the point is, alas, I am drawn in by Victor's romantic gesture only to learn that he indeed has a connection to Anita, Chelsea's mom. So Anita decides to just randomly go pay a visit to Victor this week, and he's of course like, get out of here. You're never allowed to be in here. You have no business being in here. And we have a telephone for these occasions if you should need to contact me. And he has her promptly thrown off the ranch, but not before one of the manhandlers ends up whacking her over the ear and she loses an earring and it drops onto the ranch floor. I'm so angry to learn of this connection. You know, does Victor ever learn? Does he ever learn? He pulled this crap with Billy and keeping him locked up, and all that did was continually alienate him from his daughter, from his wife, from everyone in his family, and he still pulls these same old tricks. I don't know why I even bother to think that anything is ever going to be any different, because it never is. And it's like we get one little moment of bliss with Nikki and Victor and everything being okay, followed by 100 moments of strife and just crap and lies. Nikki straight up asked Victor, if he had anything to do with Anita or Chelsea, or did he have anything to do with that situation? And he looked her dead in the face and he said no. Well, that would have been all fine and good, except that Nikki discovered the earring lying on the floor, realized that earlier she saw Anita's missing earring, made a big production out of it, and put two and two together, that Anita was at the ranch, therefore connection between Anita and Victor. And I loved Nikki this week, outside of the fact that she looked amazing. She's been walking around town in this fur coat that's, it's like a camel colored coat, but then it's got this huge, beautiful brown and camel neckline, and I believe it also had fur around the sleeves. It's opulent, this opulent fur coat, and her hair has been looking really good. On Friday's show, she was wearing this white blouse with this tie kind of in the front, and her hair was up with little tendrils hanging down. It was really gorgeous, and I would love to see Nikki just smack Anita across her bloated plastic face. I'm sorry. There is aging gracefully, and then there is this woman. I know you guys told me last week she's from like Dukes of Hazzard, which I didn't watch. I don't have any connection to, so I don't even know what she looked like at that time, but it don't look so good right now. I'm sorry. She just don't look so good, but I was glad to see Nikki start out just being very nice to her, just offering to take her to lunch, and then whammo, like grabbing her purse and dumping it out on the table to try to find the other earring to match them together, and then questioning Anita about her connection with Victor. And Anita quickly came up with this lie, you know, saying that, what did she say? She just went to Victor to make sure that he wasn't gonna be mad about Chelsea's situation. Just a lie. Just a lie. And Nikki was so amazing, as she always is. She just deduced right away that it was a load of crap, told Anita to get out of her face, get your own ride home, by the way, and she called up Victor on her cell phone and tried to get a hold of him to get his explanation for this. He told her straight up he had nothing to do with Anita, and now she has proof. So she asks him about it, and what does he say? I wish I had it on a recording. I wish I had it on a record so I could just play it over, or a recorder. Anytime anybody questions Victor about anything, I have my reasons for what I've done. 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 If you didn't catch that, that was a tape recorder rewinding and replaying his excuse into infinity, because that's all it ever is from him. It's, I have my reasons, you don't need to know them, just trust me, I'm Victor Newman. And Nikki's like, great, you know, she feels the same way I do, like, thanks a whole lot. I just have gone from this blissful moment, and now I realize that you have just flat out lied to me. And Victor doesn't even try. He almost doesn't even seem to blink an eye. They talked while he was in the middle of negotiation with Genevieve, and it doesn't even seem to bother him that he's just been found out. He is impossible to deal with, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really, truly, sincerely do, because I like Victor in so many other ways. I'm not a Victor hater. I think a lot of people are, and I just have a soft spot for him. I cannot help it. My question is, and this is the question that I'm really hoping gets addressed soon. How long has Victor been involved with Anita and Chelsea? When was his last contact with Anita and Chelsea? Is it something where he started this back when he was trying to set up Billy, and we all know he did that, and then realized it was a bad idea and stayed away from him? Or has he been continually orchestrating this all the way up until now? That's my question. And it's going to make all of the difference in the world, and I can't wait till he gets back from France so he can explain himself. Billy and Victoria had their Valentine party, private party together this week as well. Billy decided to rent out Jimmy's bar so that they could be alone together and play games and have drinks and, you know, do it on the jukebox. And you guys, I don't know why, but I'm having a hard time getting into Billy and Victoria this time around. I really liked them for the first part of their marriage when it was all forbidden and naughty and they were getting married on the beach in Jamaica and everybody was against it, and they were totally opposite, but somehow they've come together. And now, I don't know, I think that my feelings about Billy have just changed significantly. He's a fun-loving, funny guy, but he just feels so irresponsible to me. And ever since he stayed away from Delia while she had cancer because he had these false drug charges and slept with another woman, that just doesn't seem like good enough of a reason to stay away from your daughter when she's sick. And that just, ever since then, I think I've just been subconsciously holding that against him, and I have not been able to get into him and Victoria. There are honestly very few couples on the show and very few storylines on the show that I just I have a hard time getting into. You know me, I'm usually excited about everything, but for some reason I just feel that Billy and Victoria together, I kind of think that Billy and Victoria together makes Victoria look kind of dumb sometimes. You know, like she's got this sort of, I don't know, Billy comes off as being this kind of like playboy husband, and she is this ice queen, and I think that she just really does overlook a lot of his flaws. I don't know, maybe that's what love is looking over somebody's, you know, overlooking someone's flaws. But sometimes I think that Victoria is just blind to Billy, because they wouldn't be in this whole situation with Chelsea unless Billy had ran off to Asia. Victor didn't have anything to do with that. That wasn't Victor's fault. Billy had problems in his marriage. The whole thing fell apart after he bought a baby on the black market, got him stolen away, and ran off to Asia because he couldn't handle the guilt, couldn't handle facing the responsibility, and he slept with Chelsea. That wasn't Victor's fault. Billy is irresponsible, and he brought this situation into their lives. Now, Chelsea is everywhere. Every time Billy and Victoria are trying to get comfortable, trying to smooch, Chelsea's there. Why don't they lock the doors? Why don't they let her, why don't they have some kind of ground rules set? They're just letting her walk all over their life. They're letting her mother walk all over their life. Anita's got Victoria getting her drinks. It's too pathetic. It's too desperate. It doesn't even seem like Victoria Newman to me. Victoria Newman is strong and secure and feisty. And who is this woman who's falling over herself taking care of these two women? It's totally insane. And I don't know why they're letting it happen. Clearly, on a very conscious level, Billy and Victoria know that these two are working them, but they're trying to just hold out for the hopes that Chelsea's going to give them that baby. There's such a slim chance of that. And even so, Billy made this offer to Anita this week to kind of pay her off. To say, well, once the baby's born, maybe I can get you a place far, far away from here. Pretty much giving him money to make them go away. And I just don't see how that's going to end well for them. They had a situation set up where they could have adopted a baby, and now that's all been sidetracked because they're trying to deal with these two con artists that everyone knows are con artists. Billy and Victoria know it, Jill knows it, Nikki knows it, everybody pretty much knows it, and I'm having a hard time dealing with the situation. It makes me angry at Billy and Victoria, and we're seeing a lot of scenes this week where Chelsea and her mother have conflicting goals. Clearly, Anita just wants money. She just wants the cold, hard cash. That's all she cares about. Chelsea has her mind set on Billy. She wants Billy. She would be happy if Victoria just disappeared off the face of the earth and suddenly she could move right on into her role. She loves the idea, she's beginning to love the idea of having Billy's baby and possibly having a family with him. And so we're starting to see these cracks in Chelsea's character, and it seems almost intentional. Like, before Chelsea's mom came into the picture, Chelsea was the evil one. She was the bad guy. But now that Anita has come in, she's 10 times worse. It's making Chelsea look like an angel, and we're seeing these scenes where Chelsea's starting to bond with the baby. Hey, that's great. You're only like, what, 6-7 months along, and you're just now starting to bond with your child. Oh, like, I'm supposed to feel for her because of that, and she's having these conversations with the baby like, I'm not gonna let you have a childhood the way I did, and I'm gonna make sure that you're far, far away from my mother. And I'm sorry, but I don't have sympathy for her at this point. She's still working a con. And I'm not feeling the redemption here. She's still, every time she turns around, she's trying to do something to break Billy and Victoria up. She faked having pregnancy pains or labor pains this week and had everybody run to the hospital thinking she was in labor. And then later she's always, over in the corner like, the baby's kicking, here, come feel it. So if Chelsea's having second thoughts on the one hand, I think she's still having vindictiveness in the other. So again, I don't feel sympathy for her, and I'm having a hard time feeling sympathy for Billy and Victoria. I just think that they have they learned nothing from the Jana situation? Jana was in that garage apartment for months and had come and go freely of the house, and now they're doing the same thing with Chelsea. Well, Jana ended up stealing your kids. This is not a safe situation, Billy and Victoria. You're opening yourself up for disaster, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. Adam is super, super bitter this week. He is not adjusting very well to the fact that he is now blind, and Sharon is constantly trying to help him, and he is just pushing her away. And by the way, hilarious moment when Sharon and Adam are at the farm, and Sharon realizes that the water heater is out. So she's gonna go to the breaker to stick a screwdriver in it. Okay, Sharon, I'm not an electrician. I don't even know that much, but I know not to stick a metal object into a circuit breaker where electricity is flowing through. That seems like the most stupid thing you could possibly do. Go to the breaker. All you have to do is flick the little doodad. That's all you need to do. You don't need to get a screwdriver ever and mess with the breaker, okay? You are Sharon Newman. You can call somebody and have someone deal with that for you. Just a little life lesson. Because Sharon sticks the screwdriver into the breaker and gets shocked. It was hilarious. That was like the highlight of the week at the farm. Oh, I love the farm. I love the farm. And I wish that it was having a healing process for Adam, or have a healing effect on Adam. But if that's the case, it's a very, very slow process. He is just not letting Sharon help him, even though he clearly needs the help. Every time she tries to reach out to him, he kind of smacks her hand away, and he has been trying to convince her this week to leave. He tells her, I don't need your help. I'm gonna hire somebody who's gonna help me. I don't want you here. You belong with Faith. He's telling her that she should be with her daughter and not with him, and that's his entire argument. And I'm having trouble tuning into his emotions here. Why? Why is he pushing her away? Because I would think that Adam, the Adam that I know, would be using this as an excuse to get the one thing that he wants, Sharon. So why is he pushing her away? Is it all about Faith? Is it truly that he just feels guilty for taking Sharon away from her life? It's difficult to understand him. He is newly blind, he is bitter, and he needs to lean into somebody. He needs to reach out to somebody. He can't continue to isolate himself. Enter Hope. First, Adam goes to Hope's gravesite to visit her. And one thing I thought was very interesting that I had totally forgotten was that Hope's full name was Hope Adams Newman. And I don't know why I didn't make the connection before that that's where Adam got his name, because Adam's real name is Victor Jr. And when he came into town to Genoa City, he didn't want to be known as Victor Jr. And he picked the name Adam, and it never occurred to me that that's why he chose that name. So that was a really cool revelation for me. And he is at the grave looking at the tombstone. Hope's right next to Cliff's. Remember Cliff, you guys? He was a well-meaning country boy, and he's talking to his mother and just feeling sad, but yet feeling connected to her in the fact that he's now blind, and they have this shared experience. And this guide that he's hired to help drive him places and obviously helped him find the tombstone comes up to him and says, you know, she was a really good woman. And I think that helped him to talk to somebody who knew his mother. And if you guys have ever lost somebody, it's, you know, it's nice. It's really so meaningful to talk to somebody who knew this person that meant so much to you and who's now gone. It's like a connection to them. So I think that meant something to him, meant something to me. As Adam walks away, a breeze blows, just a light breeze blows into the graveyard and brushes off some snow from the top of the tombstones, and it's a little foreshadowing that Hope is there and she's coming back. And Adam goes back to the farmhouse. He's sitting at the table feeling terrible about his life and feeling like a piece of dirt, and Hope appears to him to give him some encouragement and to tell him that he has the strength to get over this. And the most beautiful part of that interaction, I thought, was that Hope said to Adam, you are Victor Newman's son, but you're my son too. So you are as much him as you are me. And so while you have this darkness in you, while you have this drive and this passion and this kind of predatory instinct, you also have a great empathy and resourcefulness and ability to survive. And I think that gave him the strength that he needed to go on. And even after he pushed Sharon away, she decided to come back to him, and he reunited with her and has decided that he is going to accept her help. They came together, and I think this is going to be like a nice new little beginning for them, and I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be hanging out at the farm. I'm sure that they'll be back in Genoa City lickety-split. And you guys, I cannot not mention, Adam, keep your glasses on. Please keep your glasses on. For the first couple of days of his blindness, I thought, these glasses, they're black and dark and dorky looking, and do we have to have these glasses on? Oh my goodness. This week, he took off the glasses to reveal his totally creepy, translucent looking eyes. Ugh! It was so weird. So now that he's blind, looking him in the eyes, there's no pigment. He's wearing, Michael Mooney's like wearing these contacts. They're ghostly. They're so weird. It's I can't stand looking at him in the eyes. There was this dramatic moment where he pulled off the glasses for the first time to reveal his eyes. And I was like, oh! Put it back on! Put it back on! Finally, this week, Kevin was able to connect with Chloe after leaving her at the altar weeks and weeks and weeks ago, disappearing, leaving her no trace of where he was, and then coming back married to Angelina. He finally pays a visit to the Chancellor Mansion to talk with her about it. And I was so glad. Not that I'm some huge Kevin and Chloe fan, but just that I think that Chloe deserves an explanation. She needs to know what's going on. And I was filled with so much hope as Kevin actually started to explain the situation. He told Chloe the whole story. What happened on their wedding night, that they were, everything about the gunshots and Angelina lying about being pregnant and then being on that island, everything up until today, and saying that he didn't want to marry Angelina, he wanted to marry her. And it was so nice to at least have the truth out there and to see Chloe starting to heal and starting to get some of the answers that she deserved. And I also felt that there was a lot of explanation, like I felt like I was getting some of the answers that I deserved, because when Kevin left Chloe at the altar, I was pissed at him, and I was pissed at the scenario that Angelina had lied and that they had to go on the run. But what pissed me off the most, the thing that felt unforgivable to me, was the fact that he called Chloe and lied to her. I felt that if he just would have explained the situation to Chloe from the beginning, then all of this could have been avoided. He could have salvaged their relationship, and above that, their friendship. They used to be best friends, and now they're nothing. Now it's awkward and painful for them to be around each other. And Kevin actually did explain that the reason he didn't tell Chloe the truth was because he didn't want her going after him. He didn't want her going to look for him. When Jana kidnapped him, Chloe was the one that found him. She was busting out the Find Kevin shirts and using her instinct, their connection, to try to get him back, and Kevin didn't want that happening. He didn't want to bring her into the line of fire if he and Angelina were truly in danger. The problem is, just as he is explaining all of this to Chloe, he gets a phone call from an angry Angelo, angry that Kevin has left his new bride the day after their wedding party, and he tells Kevin that if he doesn't start paying more attention to his new bride and less attention to Chloe, then Angelo's gonna threaten Chloe. He's gonna take Chloe and send her off on the deserted island the same way he did to Jeff. So, direct threat. Angelo threatens Chloe, which, by the way, he kind of has already done before, but now the threat seems very imminent, and as soon as this happens, Kevin's total demeanor changes, and now all of a sudden he's right back to lying to Chloe. I understand that he wants to protect her. I'm trying to be forgiving of that. However, did you learn nothing from that entire adventure that you just went on? You're turning around and you're making the same mistake again. You're lying to her to protect her. What are you, Cain? Should I start calling you Cain now? Kevin, you're better than that. You should have, yeah, you're better than that. That's all I can say. And it just ticks me off because he turns around and now tells Chloe, yeah, I started falling in love with Angelina. He has to backtrack, and now he tells her he started falling in love with Angelina, and so, yeah, he's in love with her now. So I wanted you to have the explanation, but just so you know, I'm still technically in love with Angelina. Clearly, I'm brimming with love for Angelina, so goodbye. And Chloe, kicks him out. It's ridiculous. Why does he have to lie? Why do people have to lie? Well, it gets me talking. It gets us talking. I mean, he had an obligation to their little family, to Delia, to Chloe. I mean, Delia ended up having this party later on in the week, her birthday party. I mean, as Chloe explained it, her after cancer party, her first birthday party after she's gone through this horrible, horrible illness. that her father was barely there for. And Kevin was supposed to be there for her. He was supposed to be their little family, and now he's not there because of these lies, and now he's married to somebody else. And it's just, I'm mad at him for that, and I feel horrible for Chloe. And Victor sent this present to Delia via Nikki, this huge, like, hand-tooled saddle so that she can come out to the ranch and ride Pinkerton. And just, it was a nice party other than, like, this awkward moment of Victor sending this elaborate gift. And I'm wondering, well, since when does he even care that much about Delia? Was he caring about her when she was keeping her father away? Well, it's just, ugh. But other than that, I felt that Chloe did a really good job of going on with the party as if nothing had happened, as if her heart hadn't just been broken and then slightly healed and then re-broken again. She just was able to go on, and I felt so proud of her, sad for her, but proud of her, and I don't know what she's gonna do. I'm not a fan of Kevin and Chloe's relationship, so part of me does kind of think, and you know, Angelina is just, she does have a heart, you know, she is seeing that Kevin is not happy, he doesn't love her, and it's breaking her heart. She said to him this week, you know, you used to have this light in your eyes, and now that's all gone, and that's what I loved about you, was that light in your eyes. And Kevin does seem like a dead man. He can't even shave. Come on, Kevin. You're off the island. It's time to shave the beard, all right? He clearly looks disheveled, and everyone in the family is wondering what the problem is, and yet no one is really able to talk to him, and he's not confiding in anybody. Michael even gave him an opportunity this week. He said, look, whatever the problem is, we'll figure it out. Just tell me. Just talk to me. And Kevin's refusing to do it, and it's supposed to be self-sacrificing, but I think it's selfish. I think that he's letting Angelo run his life, and it's ruining his life. It's ruining the life of people around him. He's not going to be able to keep up this charade for longer. He needs to take a page out of the book of Jeff and stand up to Angelo. Jeff has been hanging around Glowworm this week, trying to get back into Gloria's good graces. I don't know why they even let him in the building, but he's there. I'm surprised Angelo hasn't had him whacked, but he's there. And oh, Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Valentine's Day, he shows up at Glowworm with a plastic flower for Gloria and a box of Whitman's samplers. Wow, what girl could resist that? Okay, everybody, that is the end. L'end. Fin. As they say in Provence. Oh, I hope you guys had a really good week and enjoyed watching the show as much as I did. Hey, Valentine's week is always good and special. So why don't you leave me your comments and let me know all of your thoughts and all of your opinions about this week's show. I know you have them. I know you've got a lot of opinions. So break it down, give it to me. You guys are my touchstone. You keep me real. You keep me considering everything from all of the different angles. Seriously. So there's a comment box, ding, 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 right down there below, where you can leave me your comments about this week's show. I'm totally excited to read them. Totally excited to respond to them. I've been working very hard this week. Oh my goodness. So Y&R was such a good relief for me. I've been doing web design. I don't know if you guys know this, but I work for myself. I run a business out of my home, and I've been working really hard, honestly, for the better part of 2 years on a business website. It's just cheaper to learn how to build a website myself rather than to pay somebody else to do it. So it's been a long journey. And finally, I feel like this week my website is where I want it to be, and that's very exciting for me. So I'm going to put the link in the video description here so that you guys can check it out. It's at buttonhead.biz. if you want to see what I do for a living, I make custom button pins and pocket mirrors and temporary tattoos and magnets for parties and events and businesses, and I do that full time for the past nearly 5 years now, and it's growing all the time, and I'd love for you guys to see what I've been working on and see my website. And you guys, if there's any way, if you like my website, if you like what I do over at Buttonhead, I would love if you guys could help me share that link to buttonhead.biz on your Facebook page, on your Twitter page. That would help me out so much, because links to my website really help to increase my search engine rankings. So I hate to ask, I don't usually ask anything, but if you guys could tweet my link out or Facebook my link out, that would make a huge difference to me. So I'm going to put in the link in the description of this video, and anything you could do to help me out would be really appreciated. Also, I give 10% off of orders if you have a blog or something and you want to put a Buttonhead banner on your website. So if that's something that's interesting to you, definitely check it out. You'll see all the info there on my website when you visit it. So that's what I've been doing this week. And finally, I kind of feel like it's done, so I'll have more time to focus on Y&R, right? Okay, well, you guys, thanks so much for listening and participating. I love you a ton, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again next week. So everybody take care. Mwah! Bye!